And here we are again, another 72 hours in the books. That's right. Another 72 hours down in our fasting and in our metabolic improvement. Y'all. We are on the path and we are taking charge of our health and we're creating the life we've always wanted. Hey, this is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, go to the next level. And we're creating the life we've always wanted. We're living that limitless life that says that we're not allowing anything from outside or anything from inside to prevent us from doing what we need to do for our health and for the rest of our lives. We're breaking free from those boundaries. We are breaking down those barriers. We're not allowing any obstacles to stop us. We're showing up with our best selves, our best health, and our best plans for our life. Hey, if you're new to me, I love to see people who are coming through. Go ahead and put new in the comments because I'd love to welcome you with a hand clap and some music. And let you know that I'm excited that you're here. If you do have questions as we move throughout the episodes, go ahead and put those in the chat. Make sure you put a Q in front of it so that I'll know that that's one that we need to get to answer as we move through the space. I've got some things that we're going to be taking a look at here in just a little while. I've got my monitors off to the side, my Keto Mojo and my Contour, and then right below me, that is my Dexcom Clarity Report so you can see what's been going on with my blood sugars over the last several days. Wherever you are, in whatever platform you're on, LinkedIn or Twitch or Instagram or on Facebook or of course here on YouTube, I welcome you to the community and to this amazing process that we are walking through. Just a couple of shout outs. Or our shout outs, I guess they are. As we've been walking through the Limitless Living Health Action Plan, there are a lot of components that we have talked about already. And two of the components that are ongoing. One was our 100-day walk to consistency that started at the beginning of the year. And we walked through that process. That is still ongoing, right? So even though we've moved to add another component, doesn't mean we're stopped. And also our strength training. If you've not joined us on either one of those every morning at 6 a.m., make sure you join us there so that you can have a space. And that's really what it is. It is a dedicated time, dedicated space where you are doing something to improve your health. It's not a long time, and it is a time where you get to say, I am doing what I need to do for my health today. This is time that I'm dedicating, and it is consistent. Remember, consistency breeds competence. Competence breeds self-confidence, and then self-confidence causes more consistency. And after you've done that, when you've proven the consistency, when you become self-efficacious, when you are doing the things on a regular basis that are putting yourself in a position where your health gets better, you feel better, your mind is better, you begin to present yourself better, you walk differently, you talk differently, you stand taller. All of those things are a direct consequence of being consistent. And make sure you join us on our show for the series that we're doing right now, and that is our strength training series. Okay? And there was some music coming on. All right. So make sure you're joining us for that series because it is an amazing thing that's going on, and you get to make a change for yourself. You get to make a change for your life, and you get to make a decision that every day you are going to show up. All right, so I see some of our community members that are hopping on, so we're going to say hi to them here in just a minute. But let's go ahead and let's take a look at blood sugar, see what's been going on. I am now 72 hours into this week's fast, and hey, I'm excited about that because I'm doing the things that I need to do to make sure that I'm remaining consistent and I am improving my health. We'll talk more about that as we get into the show. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at blood sugars. And first of all, let's look to see what my Libre, and this is my Libre continuous monitor, says that my blood sugar is right now 75, and we're looking at this number right up here, right? So that's what my blood sugar is right now. If you look further down on that on that screen, you'll see the graph. And you see I've been kind of hovering right at about 100, right below 100, or sometimes actually down to the 70s. Right now we're like at 75. Let's go ahead and look at what my Dexcom says has been going on. And this one I like because I can actually put my finger and you get to see the actual numbers. And so when we did our check-in yesterday, 100, 104, 105, and right, going into the evening, into the 80s and 90s, and then continuing to fall. And then right in here is what I call the toothpaste effect, right? So notice that I'm below 70, and then this morning, yeah, there's that toothpaste effect that takes me up to about 117, I think was the highest. Ooh, 122, look at that, 122. And then now starting to come back down. So I'm gonna have to find a different toothpaste. I did that once, but I didn't like that. So I'm gonna have to do that because I think that spike, so we can kind of normalize that spike a little bit. Anyway, so that's what my blood sugars are. Based on these two monitors, we'll take a look at the actual numbers on my Dexcom Clarity here in just a minute. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and we're gonna see what the Keto Mojo and the Contour are saying my blood sugars are. So let's grab, let's go ahead and grab our container with our Lancets and test strips. So I need a blue one for ketones, I need a brown one for blood sugars, and then I need a Lancet, but I'm gonna do two because, as you know, I don't like to, sometimes I have to stick myself twice, and anyway, that that's not fun. But anyway, and then here is the test strip for the, this is test strip for the Contour. Let's get one of those out. All right, come on, come on. It's being a little stubborn. All right, let's get that going, and go ahead and open up. This is the blood sugar test strip. Let's go ahead and get that opened. All right, here we go. So what do you think my ketones are going to be? All right, so we're at 72 hours. Let's go ahead and grab a Lancet. And so that's my Lancet right there. And let's find a good spot. And ow, 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 ow. Okay, that should give me a good drop. It better, because that hurt. As you know, I don't use the Lansing device. It's just one of my quirks. I think it takes more time for me to get the Lancet into the Lansing device and all that stuff. So anyway, I don't use them. I just grab it, take the thing off, and there's a drop of blood. And so you'll see there that the Keto Mojo says that my blood sugar is 78, 86 from the Contour, and then 101 from the 101 right there for the Dexcom. All right, so those are a bit different. All right, normally they're much closer together. Let's go ahead and get this in. This is the ketone, and let's see what this is. All right, so these days this one is always like a mystery to me because for some reason. All right, let's see what that is. I think we were we 1 point something yesterday? All right. Drum roll, please, and we are 1.1. Look at that, yeah. So when we talk about ketones, remember ketones that are less than 0.5 considered normal, 0.5 to 1.5 considered nutritional ketosis, and then above 1.5 considered therapeutic ketosis. All right, now let's go ahead and let's look at my reports, my Dexcom report, and you'll see there that my average blood sugar over the last 14 days has been 102. With a glucose management indicator of 5.7. So that means if I were to get an A1C, then my A1C would approximate that number. Now I can't call it an A1C because it is a calculated number, but I would expect it to be pretty close to that. And then here I'm in target 99% of the time, target being anywhere from 70 to 180. All right, so that's the target range. If I make a change here and just say, let's look at what's been going on for the last 90 days. So this is a 90-day cumulative average My average blood sugar over the last 90 days has been 109. And I tell my patients that I want them to have blood sugars ranging between 100 and 120. So right in keeping with that. A1C of 5.9, which goes right along with what the average blood sugar is. Once again, time in range is 96%. And target range is 70 to 180. This target range right here is sometimes a little deceptive because sometimes a lot of people will just look at the green, the graph, right? Say, hey, I'm in target. But remember the graph, the target or that range is actually 70 to 180. So technically you could be at 180 and still be considered, you can be at 180 all the time and still be considered in range. That's not what we want. We want your blood sugars to be between, less than 120. It could be 70 to 120, but I usually tell people, 100 to 120. If I look at the daily graphs, now in this one, I'm going to actually change our view a little bit so we get a bigger view. If we look at the daily graph, so going back from here, so right now, 72 hours, going backwards, so we've been running low 100s into the 1-teens. Right here, I think I got up to 120, maybe 122. And then overnight, actually dipped down into the 60s. These here, sometimes I'm a little skeptical of them, because if you sleep wrong on the sensor, sometimes it will give you a false reading. But this was pretty. Let's see, we went from about 141 all the way to 250, maybe 3 o'clock, and we were low, and then we came low again. So it's possible. It's possible. But the point here, though, is not necessarily that went low, but that the blood sugars have been kind of staying right at about 100. Okay, so that's in my 72-hour fast. If I go back 24 hours, this is where we change the sensor, and looking at after we got the sensor on, we're still in the 100s, 90s, 80s. Going back, and now, so that was 48 hours. Going back 24 hours for this entire day, notice that we ran in the 80s, 90s, and low 100s for the entire day. So this is now at 24 hours. And then if I go back to time 0, this is where we ate our last meal. And from that point, going forward, you see that the blood sugars are being consistently what I've been talking about in the 80s, 90s, 1-teens maybe. And so the meal that I had here to break or to start the fast, or the last meal, I guess I should say, didn't give a big spike in my blood sugar. And that is usually what we're looking for. There's a whole conversation to have around that, balanced bites and the foods that we eat, and how the foods that we eat affect our blood sugars with the spiking and the hormones and the fluctuations. But our goal, generally speaking, is to have blood sugars that are not causing big spikes, right? We don't like spikes. We don't want the spikes, because the spikes cause us to have cravings, cause us to be hungry, cause the insulin to come out, cause us to put on weight, and all the dysfunction that comes from metabolism. So that's the benefit of having numbers that are not spiking, but they are relatively stable. All right. Okay, now let's go ahead. I want to hop over and do a check-in. So whenever I do a check-in, I'm doing a check-in because I want to look at what's been going on with me, right? And if you are interested in finding out what's going on when you are making changes, you want to check in with yourself. How am I feeling physically? How am I feeling mentally? How am I feeling emotionally? And there are other parameters that we could look at as well. But remember, these are several of the components of the domains of health, right? So the top 3 domains that we've talked about is what you're seeing here. And so let's talk about physical. So physically, people often will talk about the fatigue that they feel. They'll talk about the fact that their energy goes down. They feel lightheaded, dizzy, palpitations, all of those. as it relates to fasting. Okay, so that's usually what people say. Now, one of the points here to be made is if you are not well rested, if you're not well hydrated, then those feelings, those things that you feel, yeah, those will be pronounced. But it may not be, it's a fasting issue. It actually is just preparation. And we'll talk about that here in just a minute. So preparing for the fast, very, very important. Right now, I'm actually feeling pretty good. I got good rest last night, the night before that. Now, the night before that, we had some interesting things go on. But for the last several nights, been doing a good job of resting. I woke up early this morning and had a project that I was working on, and got that done. And so physically actually feeling well, and I'm doing a good job of hydrating. Awesome. All right, so how am I doing mentally? As you know, when you have a physical issue, then it sometimes will carry over into your thought process. And right now, I'm actually doing pretty good in terms of my thought process. Because I'm rested, because I've been doing what I need to do in terms of hydration, physically I'm doing well. And so mentally I'm feeling energetic, I'm feeling sharp, I'm feeling as though I'm able to process. And because I'm fasting, I've got those beta hydroxybutyrate ketones that are coming out, and it is stimulating my brain. And the BDNF, brain-derived natriuretic factor, which is like miracle growth for the brain, during fasting, it goes up, and people say, I feel clarity, right? So, see, I'm getting ahead of myself. We'll talk about that here in just a minute. And then emotionally, some exciting things happened this week for me. So let me say it. So the week started out not emotionally well. And then as I went through the week, it actually got better. And some things that happened for me were pretty exciting. And because I am continuing to feel the benefit of the health journey that I'm on, I have been very excited. I've talked to some of you in the community, and you've been along with me fasting, and I'm seeing the excitement in you as well, the connections you're making. I'm seeing the benefits that you're having in your health. And so for me, that has been exciting. All right. So emotionally, this, even though it started out as one of those interesting weeks, I'm doing well, and so physically, mentally, and emotionally, not an issue right now. So let's go ahead and let's say hello to some of our community members. I see you out there. Let's see who we have. Monique. Monique is here with us. So Monique, let's say hello to you and give you a hand clap and some music. Thank you for coming through. Thank you for coming through and hanging out with us in our check-in. Cornelia, hi Dr. Monique and Limitless Living Gang. Hey, Cornelia. And Cornelia, I think you were guessing for a ketone of 1.8 and we ended up being 1.1. Okay. Cornelia said, I would like to share this week after preparing with Balance Bites, walking 30 minutes for 5 days, 3 days of strength training, fasting 72 hours. Wow, Cornelia, I'm gonna start that. We're gonna come back to that here in just a minute. But congratulations to you. Hand clap, hand clap, hand clap. And then Pamela says, hello all. And Cornelia, okay, Cornelia, I'm gonna, so that set it up, right? That set it up. So I set it up by talking about all this stuff, and I'm gonna keep your comment here because we're coming back here in just a minute to talk about that. And then, oh yeah, so Cornelia is just, you're on the ball, Cornelia. I'm gonna star all of those, and then I'm gonna just come to this one and say, hi Pam. So we'll come back, we'll talk about some of those things here in just a minute. So if you have been walking through the path with us, so you did a fast on so Tuesday into Wednesday. Congratulations, 24 hours, yay for you. You did a Wednesday into Thursday, so yesterday, and you ended your fast yesterday. Congratulations, kudos for you, kudos for all of you taking the initiative in getting healthy, right? Doing something for yourself that sets you up for metabolic success. I love that, love that. And then for those of you who are ending your fast right now, kudos to you because you said, hey, I'm doing it the third day with you. Now notice that I'm going through the days. If you fasted on day number 1 with me, go ahead and put a 1 in the comments. If you fasted on day number 2, put a 2. If you ended your fast today with me, put day number 3. And then for those of you who have done the entire fast with me, go ahead and put a T into the comments, because I want to give a shout out to all of you, because all of you have done something to say yes to improving your metabolism. Remember, Limitless Living says that we're doing whatever we need to do to be successful. That means there are things that we have to face, things that we have to try, things that we have to work on, things that we got to improve, right? Some scheduling issues that we've got to take care of. That helps us move in that direction, because we're not allowing anything to inhibit us or prevent us from doing that. That's limitless living. Now, let's go back and let's talk about the process. So if you've been walking along with us, if you've been doing strength training with us, if you have been following the health action plan, this is the pathway for success. This is the pathway for success, right? We'll talk more about that in just a minute. So let's go back to Cornelia, and let's pop up her comments again. So Cornelia says that she prepared for the fast with balanced bites. So she was eating in a way that sets her up for success. Remember, balanced bites, whole foods. Actually, let me go back to this one. Comments. There we go. Whole foods, no processing, minimize, no added sugar. We want to have lean protein, healthy fats, starchy, non-starchy vegetables, portion controlled, tasty and flavorful, all of those, right? So she prepared with balanced bites. She walked 30 minutes for 5 days. So, the walking, 100-day walk to consistency. And then she did strength training for 3 days, right? So strength training, strength, strategy, and mindset. These are all components, all tools that we have that are going on right now. And then she fasted for 72 hours, right? So she's laying out the process that she went through this week. So she said, my blood sugar went from 277 down to 128. 277 down to 123. Look at that, okay? Her weight dropped 7.4 pounds, right? So visceral fat dropped 1 point, bio age dropped by 4 years. And Cornelia, I'm assuming that you're using an app. Maybe you're using the Fitbit, which is the one I recommend for people. But you get to see all of those. You get to see all of those parameters as you're moving through what you're doing to be healthy. Then she says, well, thank you, Dr. Woode, for putting together and introducing us to the Limitless Living Health Action Plan. I would like to share this week. Okay, so we went back to that, right? So Cornelia, yes, thank you for putting all of that into our comments so that other people can see that. That's the benefit. That's one of the benefits of community, right? You get to see real people who are having real changes, who are having real improvement and real benefits, right? So thank you and kudos to you, Cornelia, for all of that. So Pam says she did day 3. So she started yesterday, ended the fast today. Cornelia, of course, did a total, so 72 hours. And she says, high five to you, Pam. Yeah, so kudos to everyone who's out there. All right, let's pull that all up. It is an amazing process that, let's get this one off here. Here we go. An amazing process that allows us to right our metabolism. Remember, dysfunctional metabolism is the culprit that we are fighting, and we want to make sure that we are not... we want to make sure that we're doing the right things to be able to get that in the right space again. Okay? All right. So once again, walking, strength training, and of course fasting. And we are here because we are fasting. So let's go ahead and set that up. Why are we doing what we're doing? What is the purpose of all the things that we have in place? The purpose is to correct metabolism. Dysfunctional metabolism is the culprit. When we talk about chronic diseases, diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, all of those, these are the things that we suffer from. Obesity, coronary artery disease. And so what we are in the process of doing is saying we want to correct the metabolism that's causing the problems for us. And the ultimate problem that, of course, most people think about is diabetes. But I want to hasten to say that while I'm talking to people who have diabetes, I'm talking to people who want to reverse their diabetes. I want to talk to people who want to get off diabetes medication. The same things that we do for diabetes, the same improvements that we get when we are doing the things for diabetes are the same processes that we go through to get our metabolism back the way we want it to be. So it's not just, hey, let's treat diabetes, although that's a big focus for us, right? It is, how do we correct the metabolism? Because when we do that, we get all of the benefits that come from the process. That is improved blood pressure, improved cholesterol, decreased fatty liver, decreased weight. We get insulin sensitivity, right? So we move from pre-diabetes back into normal. Our metabolism gets better. And of course, we correct our blood sugars, we improve our A1C, and we reverse our diabetes. So why are we doing what we're doing? That's the reason that we're doing it, because we want to get right. We want to get the process right. And so we've introduced the Limitless Living Health Action Plan, the Health Action Plan. And you heard Cornelia kind of walk through some of that as she's been doing that this week. And it is a big component of Balanced Bites. Well, let me go back. Let me do this first. And let's do our Health Action Plan. Well, let's talk about Balanced Bites first. All right. So Balanced Bites is the way that we fuel the body. These are the things that we're eating. These are the things that we are, okay, let's do this. So Health Action Plan. So a Health Action Plan, right? So Tier 1, walking and fasting, which we're doing fasting today. Balanced Bites, strength training. Rest, which we'll start talking about in our coming up episode on Monday. Mental mastery, and of course, structured planning. Right? So these are the things that we've been doing. And on a weekly basis, we do a fast. And the fast is designed to reset us. Come on. So think about a house. You bought a house or you bought a building. And the building is dysfunctional. And so what you're going to do is you're going to go in and you're going to gut it. You're going to take everything out. You're going to tear down walls. You're going to remove cabinets. You're going to throw away old furniture. You're going to tear up flooring. You're going to take out carpeting, right? So all of that is you're gutting the house. That is what fasting does. Fasting is a reset. Fasting says there's some functional issues that are going on in this house, right? This is our physical body. There's some functional things that are going on in this house. And what I want to do is I want to correct that. And when we do that, when we begin fasting, we get improved blood sugar, improved insulin sensitivity, improved cholesterol, improved blood pressure. Our weight goes down, right? Our mentation improves, right? Because we get that beta hydroxybutyrate that's coming out. All of that happens as we're moving through the fasting space. And so we want to know, how do we do that well? So on a weekly basis, we do a fast. We're walking. We're doing our strength training. And then, of course, the Balanced Bites, as we're thinking about it, which is the one that I had up before, let's do this, and let's make sure that we are now putting in now that we've got the building gutted, now that we've created a space that is a blank slate, right? What do we do to build up put the walls in the right place? How do we get the right furniture? We're going to paint the wall. All of that now comes as we are now putting food, or we're putting the Balanced Bites. We're fueling our body with Balanced Bites. Does that make sense? So that's the context. That's the context that we're doing right now. So we want to make sure that what we're doing is putting in, and I paused there because I was trying to find a different way of saying that, but we're putting in the right stuff, essentially, right? We're putting in the right things that will help us move in the right direction. And so when it comes to fasting now, what we're looking for is what is the best way to fast? What do we do? How do we prepare for a fast? How do we get through a fast successfully? How do we break a fast? All of those are the things that we want to do when we're talking about fasting. Preparing for the fast, very important. Often we think that fasting simply is I'm not going to eat anything. And while that is important, while that is true, that we are abstaining from food, it is not the whole in what we're doing. Because fasting entails more than just, hey, I'm not going to eat anything today. Right? There's a lot more to it. Than that. And so our goal is to say, hey, what are we going to do? How do we set ourselves up for the best possibility of success as we are walking through the fasting space? So, with that said, let's go ahead and let's talk about fasting. Talk about how we prepare for the fast. And preparing for the fast is important because how we prepare for the fast sets us up for metabolic success. How we do that is important because the things that we eat and the way that we think as we're moving into the fast has a big impact on what happens when we come out of the fast and how successful we are through the fast. So, when we're fasting, what is happening is that we are getting everything set for a trip. I want you to think about that. Like I gave an example. I went camping back in April. And so as I was getting ready for that trip, there were some things I had to do. There were some things I had to get, some things that I had to make sure that were in place. And the process of going through that is what happens when we fast. It is like I was talking to my son and talking about, his camping trip. And we stopped and we walked through. I said, hey, let's walk through the day. What are we going to do on this day, on this day, on this day, on this day? What do we need to be able to do those things on this day, this day, this day, and this day? Right? So it's a process of walking through to see what's going to happen on the trip. And so we are taking a fasting trip, if you will. And on the fasting trip, what we're looking for is to see what are the tools that we need, what is the best way to make sure that we're having success on this trip. And so one of the things is, where are we going? What's the end product? Where are we heading? What is the purpose of the fast? Why am I doing this? Am I looking for blood sugar control? Am I looking for my A1C to go down? Am I looking for weight management? Am I looking for just mental clarity? Am I looking for weight? Am I looking to correct high blood pressure, high cholesterol, coronary? What is my goal in my fast? Because that sets our destination. That sets us to be at the place when we've gone through the fast. How do I know if I've arrived there? Okay, this is what I said I was going to do, right? We start that up here. So envisioning what that's going to be like. The reason that the health action plan is so important is because it gives you a structured blueprint for how to walk through your health. If you're going to save money, then you have a way of saving money. You say, hey, we're going to put aside, this amount every week or every month. We're going to cut back on, going out once a month. We're going to stop buying coffee once a week. Whatever it is, there's a structured plan on how you're going to do it. If you are going to get a degree, you're going to school, you get a certification, there's a curriculum that you go through that says, if you follow these things, then at the end of this process, you get that piece of paper that says you completed. You get a degree from the university, you get it, or the college. You get a certification from wherever that is. When you are going to get married, right? You get a wedding planner. You don't just, well, I guess you could just show up, right? A lot of guys, we just show up, by the way, right? But there's a process. And it is and I have to admit, right, that I looked at the process that was going on when I was getting married. It was an elaborate process, but there's a process. There's like, hey, we got a book with a bunch of different colors in there. We got a book with a bunch of different venues. We've got a book with a bunch of different whatever. But there's a process. And so when it comes to health, we can't wing it. There has to be a process. And the Limitless Living Health Action Plan says that this is the process. If you follow this process, if you go through this process, you will see benefit, you will see results. And so as we are walking through how to prepare for a fast, we have to have in mind where we're going. And the Limitless Living Health Action Plan gives us a direction. It gives us, hey, this is where we're heading, okay? So where are we going? Number two, the preparation for the fast has to be not just mental, because that was a mental activity we just went through. It has to be physical. Am I getting enough rest? Because if I don't get enough rest, when I get to the fast, I'm going to have fluctuations in my energy levels because the body's going to switch from burning carbs, glycogen, to burning fat. And in that transition, particularly if I have not done this before, or I'm doing an extended fast, you're going to feel that. And if you are not rested, that's going to be a lot more profound in terms of the transition. So getting good rest. If you're not hydrated, coming into the fast now, we're talking about preparing for the fast, not in the fast. If you're not hydrated, right, the blood volume goes down. In order for your body to get the same amount of nutrients to your cells, and to take away the waste product that your cells are generating, not just in the fast, but just in general, it has to increase the heart rate so that the blood flows faster. And you can feel that like palpitations, feel like your heart's racing, skipping a beat. You stand up and all the blood pools and you feel lightheaded and dizzy. When I went camping, I gave the example, I was out there setting up the tents. And I had not done a good job of hydrating. And so I leaned over, right, to do one of the stakes on the tent. And when I stood up, all of a sudden the world started going like this. And my vision got dark. And I was out there by myself because some people that were helping me, they had gone off to do something else. And I had to stop for a while to just, okay. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, can I make it to my car? So finally I made it to the car and I sat down. But that process happened because I was not hydrating. So resting, hydration. The other thing is stress. Now fasting helps us, it is a way of managing stress. But if we are in a very stressful environment, if we come into the fast from that environment, our cortisol levels are high. And that cortisol will cause us to have cravings. It will cause blood sugars to go up. And that can derail the fasting process. So in preparation for the fast, not only are we dealing with the thought process about where we're going, not only are we dealing with the physical process of our body, getting that ready, but we're also dealing with emotional processes. Because those emotions will ramp up our cortisol level. Emotions will get us teed up. And so the health action plan, or the heat model, habits, emotions, access, and taste, those are the things that push us. Those are the things that take us off of our eating plan. That's why many eating plans don't work. Not because they don't work, but because of the things that push us off of them. So getting those things prepared to get into the fast, very, very important. And then as you heard me say, that I ended my fast or ended my eating window by eating a certain way. And now we looked at my blood sugars to see what happened in the fast based on the things that I ate coming into the fast. If you show up in your fast and your blood sugars are tremendously elevated, your body has to process all of that sugar. And it takes time to process the sugar. And particularly if you are not fasting regularly, then it takes a lot of time to process that sugar. And so it takes time for that blood sugar to come down. I was talking to someone several months ago, and I was saying, hey, I was telling them, I said, hey, if you want, we could bring your blood sugar down. This was on a Saturday. We could bring it down by Monday, Tuesday. And the question was, why so long? And it's because your blood sugars are significantly elevated. You've never fasted before. The body doesn't know what to do. It's going to process that in a normal way, and it's going to take time for that sugar to come down. So people say to me, well, I haven't eaten for 24 hours and my blood sugar is still 300. Well, yeah, it is going to be 300. Even if you don't eat for 24 hours, because it takes at least 24 to 36 hours for your body to get rid of glycogen. Before it gets rid of glycogen, it has to get rid of the sugar. And so coming into the fast with significantly elevated blood sugar can derail the fast because it does not allow the body to get into the healing process as quickly as we want. And so we spend less time in the fast and a lot more time in the, okay, let me just get rid of the sugar. Because remember, the first 6 hours is called the postprandial period. It's really not part of the fast. It's your body just now taking the food and processing it and shuffling it and sorting it into its different components. So how we eat that last meal, very important in the fast. And let's even push that further. We said the last meal, but the way you eat in your non-fasting window has a profound effect on what happens in the fast itself. Because if you're not eating a balanced meal, right, nutrient-dense meals, then in the fast, that kind of derails us. Okay? All right. So that's the preparation for the fast. And whenever I talk about fasting, I usually talk about fasting in 3 different ways. We talk about how do we prepare for the fast, what do we do in the fast, getting through the fast itself, and then, of course, how do we end the fast. And I'm going to go ahead, we're going to get into the getting through the fast, but I'm going to go ahead and put some stuff here so you can see what it is I'm going to use to end the fast. And if you've been following me for a while, you know that usually most times when I'm going to eat, or most times when I'm going to talk about food, there is a salad that's part of that. And the reason for the salad is that the salad gives me bulk. The salad gives me fiber. Right? People say, I don't like salads. Well, I like salads first, but they're not, I like salads. Let me put it that way. But I eat salads all the time because when I eat salads, it takes up space. It takes up room. It gives me fiber. I can eat a lot of it and not worry about my blood sugar, and I'm full. It stretches my stomach. My ghrelin and my leptin, all of those hormones become regulated because I get the stretch from my stomach. Okay? So I'm in the process of using every single tool that I can find. Every single hack that I can find to get this process, this body, moving in the right direction. So if I have got to eat salad to get the bulk from it, great, let's do it. So let's go ahead and I'm gonna pop that up so you could see what it is. So let's do this. Let's do this one. Okay. So here's what I've got. I've got a salad, which you'll see there. Salad. And this is my typical salad, right? So this is a bag salad. Yes, it is. So I've got lettuce. I've got some, what's in there? Carrots. that you can't see because it's covered with the cheese and the ranch. I've got some red cabbage that's in there, and that's it. So in this one, there's no tomatoes, because remember, tomatoes will spike my blood sugar up. And then over here, I've got some curry chicken, which I cook every week, and I've got some jerk chicken. Now they both look the same right now, but this is curry and that's jerk. And then over here, I've got some nuts. And the nuts are also to give me protein and to give me fat. So let's walk through Balanced Bites for a minute, right? Balanced Bites. Because remember, Balanced Bites says that, let me see if I can pull that up again. No, that's the Health Action Plan. So Balanced Bites says that I'm going to do whole foods, right? Here we go. Let's do this one. So whole foods, right? Minimize processing. I'm going to say no added sugar, lean protein, healthy fat, starchy, non-starchy, tasty, flavorful, and portion control. Okay? So whole foods, right? So most of what you see here is whole foods. Yes, there is the salad dressing that is not whole foods. That's there. The cheese is processed. Yes, it is. But generally speaking, whole foods. We've got no added sugar, and no added sugar except I'm sure that there is some sugar in the dressing. What else? So no added sugar, lean protein, healthy fats. So protein and fat right here. Portion controlled, yes, pretty much good portion control. And is it tasty and flavorful? Oh yeah. In fact, as I'm talking right now, I'm like, I need to start eating this right away. So that's what we're gonna break. That's what I'm going to break the fast with. But back to the conversation about fasting. So getting through the fast now is very important, and understanding what's going on in the body. And we've done several shows where we've combined different aspects of the Health Action Plan, walking and fasting, strength training and fasting, and so on and so forth. Balanced Bites and fasting. Getting through the fast is important, understanding what's going on. So in my body, when I finish eating, okay, and I'm going to let me do this. I'm going to pull up my blood sugar, what it is right now. So when I finish eating, the first 6 hours are considered the postprandial period. It is the time where my body's taking the food and it is just basically breaking it up and sending it off to the different components, right? So it's going to the liver, some of it is going to the bloodstream, some is going to run the body itself. All of that is happening as I'm moving through those first 6 hours. The next 6 hours, so now 6 to 12 hours, is called the early fasting phase. And in the early fasting phase, my blood sugars are now starting to go down because the food that I've eaten, the body has shuffled it away, it's taken it, it's broken it up. Now we've got protein, fats, and carbs, and it sends some here, sends some there, some there. It's packaged it away. It's using what it's needing. Right, so everything, think about going to the grocery store. You come home and you sort everything out, right? You put it into the pantry, you put it wherever it needs to be, and then now you're getting ready to cook. And so what you start doing is you go back to the refrigerator, you take out whatever, you go back to the pantry, you grab this, you go into the freezer, right? So you're gathering now the stuff that you need to get to cook. You've already sorted it, you've already put it where it needs to be, and now you're getting it back out. That's what's going on in that next 6 hours. That's the 6 to 12 hours. And then, so 12 to 18 hours, you've already cooked the food at home, right? You came from shopping, you've sorted it, put it away. Now you've cooked, and now you're gonna eat. You're gonna sit down, you're gonna eat. And what's going on is you're eating. The body is now using up the stuff that you gave it. And blood sugars continue to go down. The insulin is going down because the body is using up the sugar that's in the bloodstream. When that goes down, when that's done, then it goes to the liver and it takes some out. It's almost like you cooking. You put some leftovers in the refrigerator, and now you're eating up the leftovers. So it takes about 24 to 36 hours for the leftovers to go away. Unless you have packed your refrigerator with stuff. Remember the stuff that you ate when you came into the fast? That's like going to the refrigerator and just piling stuff in, right? All kinds of food in there. Well, guess what? You're not going to go back to the store or go into your pantry until the food in the refrigerator is done. So if every shelf, every cabinet, every component, every part of the refrigerator is packed because of what we ate before coming into the fast, then I've got to get rid of all of that first. So that's that 12 or was it 12 to 18 hour. And then now we're getting into real fasting ketosis, right? So now we're getting 24 hours, and at 24 hours, usually the glycogen is pretty much gone. It takes about 24 to 36 hours, right? So people say, well, you said it was going to go away at 24. Well, maybe for you, it takes 36 hours. And now the body is saying, okay, the glycogen is done from the liver. Now let me go burn fat. Now notice, we don't get to the fat burning until the blood sugar is gone and until the glycogen is gone. Now there's some caveats to that, which we'll talk about here in a minute. Right? So we got to use all of that up before we get into burning fat. The caveat is this: unless you are doing strength training, you're doing walking, and the things that you ate coming into the fast set you up so that the body doesn't have to process a lot. Oh yeah, come on. Did you hear what I just said? So that process takes that long unless I accelerate it by walking, by strength training, or I've done such a good job in my process of balanced bites of eating so that I don't have to process a lot of stuff in the fast itself. And then the fourth component of that is if you have been fasting on a regular basis, your body now is used to switching between glycogen and fat. And so it switches into that process a lot quicker. Notice, all of those are components of what? The health action plan. So the things that you're doing, right? The things that you're doing on your normal, everyday, non-fasting, this has nothing to do with fasting. The things that you're doing on your regular days have a profound impact on the fasting itself. So that's the 24 to 36 hours. And then beyond that, well, when we got to 18 hours, the body has already initiated several processes. Autophagy. Autophagy is the body's ability to clean itself. It's the recycling center of the body. That kicks in about 12 to 18 hours. It really ramps up now when we get to 36 hours. It's in full force. By then, my body is burning ketone or burning fat, and is producing ketones. So there's mental clarity now because the beta hydroxybutyrate is fueling our brain. The BDNF is coming out and it's pouring Miracle-Gro in our brain. So we're making connections during the fast that we somehow didn't seem to be able to do when we're not in the fast. All of these are benefits that come from the physical, the hormonal, the biochemical changes that are going on in our body during the fast. You're becoming more insulin sensitive. So because the blood sugars are going down, because the insulin is going down, the body, and because you've been doing some of the other things, right? You're doing strength training, you're doing walking, those muscles are now primed to suck up sugar. That's why when you strength train, you get into this process of autophagy and fat burning and beta oxidation is what it's called. You get into that much quicker and much easier and much more profoundly. So getting through the fast itself Sometimes, let me say this. Sometimes has nothing to do with the fast. Ooh, wow. Sometimes getting through the fast has everything to do with the rest of our life. Because all the things that happen in the non-fasting window show up in the fast. And then one of the things that I love about the fast, right? I tell people I get excited when I'm moving into a fast. The food noise goes away. And I get to see what how Dwain functions in life. Where are the places that I need to work on? What are the coping skills that I've got to work on? What are the relational skills I've got to work on? What are the social skills I've got to work on? Because I no longer have food as a buffer. I've got to face life now on its own. Just me and life. Otherwise, I've got food that I turn to. Right? Because food is that friend that never says no. You got one of those friends, anything you want to do, they come on, let's go do it. Sometimes you need a friend to say, man, I don't think that's a good idea. But food's not that friend. Food is always going to be there. It's never going to complain. It's never going to say no to you. It's always going to allow you to use it to buffer and comfort. And it always allows you to bring friends. You can bring some other food. Yeah, come on, let's do it. So fasting, an amazing process. So getting through the fast, beautiful, right? So that's how you get through the fast, understanding what's going on in the body. When you are going through the fast, walking, strength training, very important because that supercharges the body. So walking gives you consistency. Strength training builds the body up. Remember, metabolically active muscles burn sugar better. And they burn sugar without insulin. And we said insulin is the thing that we've got to lower. So if I can burn sugar without insulin, that's what I want to do. When we fast, weight goes down. Why does weight go down? Because now I'm burning the storage. If I'm constantly putting things in, then the body never gets to the point where it has to go to storage to burn fat. So people say, hey, I cut back on my food. Or I only eat twice a day. Well, eating twice a day is great. I love it. Cutting back on your food is great. Love it. But you're still putting stuff in. When there's a whole bunch of stuff that's there that it's not being used, the body's not going to use it until it burns everything else. And as long as you're putting stuff in, yeah. Okay? All right. And then, of course, preparing for the fast, getting through the fast, and then breaking the fast. And breaking the fast, very important. And as I talk about breaking the fast, I'm going to break the fast right here, right now. You get to see this in real time, y'all. Here we go. You ready? Oh, yeah. Let me see. This is going to taste so good. Here's my salad. That is so delicious. So breaking the fast is very important. So the things that you eat when you break the fast will determine what happens to you over the next several hours to days. Whatever you break the fast with can have an effect of stimulating your appetite further. If you eat something that has a lot of carbs, something that spikes your blood sugar, then your body has to produce insulin, or you have to take insulin to suppress the sugar. When you take that insulin can cause cravings. And the insulin also causes you to store energy. What's that called? It's called fat. So, balanced bites is great for prior to the fast, is great for after the fast. If you are, let me see how to say this. Remember, Balanced Bites is not a diet. I think of all the things that I want to say about Balanced Bites, I think that's probably the most important thing. It is not a diet. It is not a, okay, I'm going to do this for 3 months and see how it goes. No, Balanced Bite is a blueprint also. It's a blueprint for food. It is how you need to think about food. And you want to stay as close to Balanced Bite as possible. So that when you get out of the fast, if you continue eating in that way, then what happens is that your blood sugars maintain, they're stable, you don't get high fluctuations, the insulin doesn't have to spike, you don't feel as though you're having these crashes and these highs, the weight doesn't come on like gangbusters. Because remember, when you, the liver stores about 100 grams of glycogen, and it stores, for every 1 gram of glycogen, it stores 3 grams of water. So when you come out of a fast, if you like eat stuff that high carb, high processed, then your body is sucking back up soup, right? Because it's going to take all that stuff, the blood sugar is high, it's too high, it's going to start putting some in the liver right away. And all of a sudden, we put on some weight. And people say, well, I got out of the fast and I fasted and I lost a couple of pounds, but man, look at this. I put myself. That's because of what we did. And here's the thing. Oh, this is a good one. Remember, insulin is a storage hormone. The higher the blood sugar is, the more insulin that has to come out. So your body now, it packs the glycogen back into the liver, because that's what it's going to do, because you just started eating, because it was empty before. It's going to pack it back in the liver. It does it quickly. But then because the insulin is there, everything that you eat now has the potential to go to fat cells, because the glycogen is already packed. So that's why people will say, I lost weight, but when I put the weight back on, I put on more weight than what I lost. Wow. Okay. Very good. So, you want to prepare for the fast, you want to get through the fast, and you want to break the fast well. All of those components are very important. So as you're thinking about fasting, it's not just about not eating. Fasting, here's this. Fasting is a lifestyle. It is not an event. Fasting is a lifestyle. It's not an event. That just came to me, y'all. Right here, right now. You guys can mark the date. So we want to make sure that we are doing everything that we can so that the fasting that we do gives us maximum benefit in the rest of our lives. All of that is very important for us if we're going to be successful. So for all of you who are out there, and let's go ahead and let's say hello to some of our community members. Let's see comments. Let's see. Bowie says, hi everyone. Hey Bowie, how are you? He said, Cornelia, you sound like you had an amazing week. Cornelia says, hi. Pamela says, hi to Bowie. Hi Pam. Cornelia says, yes, thank you. I got really excited about putting the action plan to use and seeing the results. Wow. Boy says my garden is in full blossom now, so I can make a salad with fresh picked greens. Oh, love it. Boy, I'm taking a trip. I'm coming over there. Boy says, I've been having a stressful week, but sweets, alcohol, or junk food won't help me take the stress away, as well as a nice sunny walk. Love it. And then she has a question. How do you plan your calories to lose 1 pound a week when you fast 3 days a week? Let's see if I understand the question. How do you plan your calories to lose 1 pound a week when you fast 3 days a week? So we recommend that a sustainable weight loss for most people is between a half a pound to a pound a week. Okay, I think that's what you're referencing. That is true, but when you follow the health action plan, you actually lose more weight than that. You lose more weight than that. But here's the beauty of the weight loss that happens in the health action plan. The reason we tell people half a pound to a pound a week, because most people who are losing weight faster than that, the things that they're doing to lose the weight faster than that doesn't allow them to learn the process of maintaining the weight. Come on. But the health action plan is not just about weight loss. The health action plan is about mindset as well, right? So if I go back to the health action plan, notice, right? So we got walking, fasting, strength training, balance bites, rest, mental mastery, structure, and planning. So when you are following the plan, you're going to lose weight faster. The reason that's not an issue is because what you're doing also is you are learning the reason why the weight was there in the first place. You're learning the things that would push you back towards the weight. You're learning the things that you need to do to maintain the weight. So yeah, when you're fasting, you're going to lose between 0.5 to 1.2 pounds per day of fasting. So yeah, you're going to get more weight off. And that's the beauty. That's the beauty of it. Because we love it. This is so good, y'all. Okay, let me get this. I want to get to my chicken. So this is where I am. Didn't eat the whole thing. Let's get over here now and get some chicken. Let's start with some curry. So I'm gonna open a restaurant, y'all. Now I might be the only one that eats it, eats from there, but I'm getting my recipe good. Well, my son likes it too, so he and I. So we cook. As a matter of fact, there's some. So I have some chicken in the refrigerator that I bought on today's what, Friday? I bought it on Wednesday because I was gonna cook like I normally do, but I realized once again if I cooked it, I'm gonna have to taste it. And then I would break my fast, so I didn't cook it. So we had some. I'm actually cooking it today. So maybe that's what I need to start doing. Cooking on Friday for the next week. Delicious. All right, all right. So one question, oh, not one question, but one point. Let's go ahead and let's look at this really quickly. So here's my blood sugar. Excuse me. But let's look at weight. So for me, I have been hovering here, right? And this is so back to a question that Bowie asked. Just another additional thought there is I am in the process of, because I've got some more weight that I want to lose, but I've paused here because I am in the process of solidifying my schedule, my rest. I told you guys the rest is my, of when we get the health action plan. That's the one that trumps. If I have to say, okay, one thing I got to work on, that's the one right there. Okay, so there's some things personally I've got to work on, and say, okay, we've done a good job. We've gotten down to our goal weight, right? We set a goal, got down to our goal weight. Now we have another goal that we've set, but I'm pausing here because there's some things I need to take care of personally as I get there, right? So looking at this number, let's go back and let's take a look at, right? And so you'll see down here at the bottom, right? So over the course of the last, I don't know, several weeks, right? We've been right at about 187. I think one time we got down to 184, 188. And that, so 187 for me is 100 pounds. Remember we were at 287? That's 100 pounds of weight loss. And so there's some other things I want to do. That's why strength training for me is exciting, because it is actually the thing. And if you were on our show, we did a pop-up live yesterday or the day before. And I was asking, I was asking what, which of the health action plan, what component was the thing that was beneficial to you? And people were putting lots of different things on. And so for me, fasting, amazing, right? I'm gutting the house. I'm resetting everything. And then the other thing for me that's been amazing is strength training, right? Because my numbers, when I started strength training, my numbers are much stabler, and my weight, fasting, post-fast, and pre-fast, don't change that much. So I love it. So the combination of those, I mean, in addition to the walking and so forth, and the balanced bites and the things I'm eating, obviously there are other components to it. But for me, I love the combination of those two. Very, very important. All right. So, let's see. So remember, everything that we do based on our Triple E formula for success, we educate, we empower, we encourage. We educate with the shows, and the blogs and the podcast. We empower with the tools, and then we encourage with the community that you are an amazing part of. So we love having you in the community. All of you that I see who are right now hanging out, Bowie and Pam, Cornelia, Steve, who's not here, Jennifer, who's not here, and Monique, thank you for coming through. All of you are building this community, and you are an integral part of what we do. So thank you for coming through, and thank you for being here. We will be back tomorrow night for video from the vault, and then on Sunday at 6 a.m. Central, we'll be here for This Week in Review. All right, so make sure you join that. And then we'll be right back on Monday for Dwain Woode, MD Live, as we move through the space and we move through the health action plan. Now, a couple of things that I want, if you did not see, I was out last weekend at a church down in Birmingham doing a men's program. I think that went well, well received. The concepts that I talked about were direct extracts from the health action plan, from the limitless living process that we're going through. Remember, limitless living, yeah, it's an amazing thing for health, but you can apply the principles in so many different areas, right? So you'll see us around the limitless living lecture series, limitless living, lots of different things. So the limitless living ecosystem, right? It is expansive. So it touches so many different areas, but definitely as we walk on our work on our health, it's there. I'll be doing a program coming up for men, again, another men's program. Ladies, you're there too, because I got you a couple of things I'm doing for you. But there's a program that's coming up for men. It is a Zoom, and I'm talking about dysfunctional metabolism, right? Dysfunctional metabolism. So make sure, I'll have that up on the channel somewhere. I was just looking at the flyer that they sent me earlier this morning. I don't see it right now. But yeah, you can join us for that, and you'll begin seeing more of those types of things coming out as we continue moving in the limitless living space. Well, thank you for being with us. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for being in this space with us. This is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. We're creating the life we've always wanted. And we are living limitless lives, which says that we're not allowing anything to prevent us from doing what we need to do. We are presenting our best self, our best health, and our best plans for our lives because we're breaking free from the boundaries and doing what we need to do to be healthy. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being in the community. We'll see you at our next episode. Goodbye, everyone. Have a great weekend. Hey, this is Dr. Dwain Woode, and over the years we've had some amazing shows. And what I'm calling now Videos from the Vault is just a look back at some of those shows that we've had that have been some landmark shows over the course of the channel. You know, we celebrated 4 years of anniversary just a little while ago, and this is just looking back to see what are those things that we have done in the past that have made a big impact in the lives of our viewers and in my life personally. So here we go, Videos from the Vault.